Hello everybody and welcome to the first instalment of Man in a Field shouts about things that really don't affect him, sponsored by Bucket Zone. And today we're going to be discussing the topic that's hot on everybody's lips. However you say it, Jaguar, or Jaguar if you're American. The Jaguar relaunch has not been taken very well. Taken so poorly by some people, such as the notorious MP John Prescott, that it's actually it's killed him. Now, why is this? Is this due to the woke, or is the Jaguar relaunch potentially going to be... Now, I'm a little bit late jumping onto this bandwagon because I have a full-time job, unlike some internet commentators, and as a result, I've had a few days to really mull over this incredibly controversial new advertising campaign. For those of you who haven't seen it, which is essentially no one at this point, the new Jaguar advert involves a bunch of rather androgynous characters who step out of a lift and walk along. A live-action Lisa Simpson is holding a sledgehammer for some reason, and Jaguar are essentially wanting to break the boundaries and reshape their image, although their rebrand does make them look like a feminine hygiene company. So I'm not really sure it's the image they're going for, but it's all very well and good to jump on this anti-woke train and say, oh, go woke, go broke, and potentially there's a little bit of truth to that, but we're not a politics channel. We are a car channel, so I will be approaching this from a motorist's perspective. And really, the one thing that I want to focus on today is brand image. And a lot of people have already brought this up, and this topic has been discussed to death. You see, Jaguar, for the past 75 years or so, they've had a very certain image which they have really stuck to a T. They've been the sporting man's car of choice. And even at their lowest in the Ford era, they still had that kind of prestigious image. Now, admittedly, I'm standing in a field because I couldn't really source a Jaguar to stand in front of, although I could have borrowed my mate's Ford Mondeo, and it would have been like having an X-Type in the background. But I digress. Jaguar has always presented themselves as a brand for the affluent gentleman. Not as high as an Aston Martin or a Rolls-Royce, but really historically on a level similar to Rover. A car for the well-to-do business owner who drives a Jag. And really, this new rebrand is throwing all of that in the bin. Now, Jaguar need to be really careful about this, because the thing is, this new car can be absolutely fantastic. It can have all the bells and whistles, it can be phenomenally styled, it can look fantastic and do all these brilliant things, 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, and Android Auto, all the new gazmos and gadgets that people love nowadays, but brand image is incredibly important. Now, I'm going to use a little bit of an analogy with Vauxhall. Vauxhall, as you know, they are essentially, for all intents and purposes, rebadged Citroens and Peugeots, and prior to that, they were just GM shite. I'm sorry. But Vauxhall have always prided themselves on being a British brand. They're not British, but that's how they sell their cars. They sell them to people with the Vauxhall Griffin, the Ellesmere Port Plaid. They've got big Union Jacks everywhere, and they're not British cars at all, and yet they still sell. The thing is, Jaguar are becoming a 100% electric brand, and what that means is that image matters more than anything at the moment. Gone are the days where you have a big 4.6 litre V8 supercharged XJ that'll just whistle through the countryside and waft along. No, the people want that brand image of luxury, grace, space and pace. Where am I going with this? The one thing that Jaguar has done very well is cultivate this brand image. And even when they were owned by Ford in the late 90s, early 2000s, and they were producing cars like the, I'm sorry, quite frankly, gopping S-Type. The pre-facelift S-Type is one of the ugliest vehicles ever made. And the X-Type, which it was more than a rebadged Ford Mondeo, but you know. They still had this brand image, and that is very, very hard to cultivate. Whilst one can cultivate a good brand image, it's harder still to maintain it. I'm going to use Jaguar's historical rival Rover as a bit of a case study. As you know, I'm a bit of a Rover fanboy. I'm one of those strange people who like the dead automotive manufacturer. They've been gone 20 years now and have still not recovered. But Rover back in the 1950s were on par with Jags. Cars like the P4 competed with the Mark II. Obviously, the bad guys always drove the Jaguars. The good guys always drove the Rovers. And then British Leyland happened, and then Rover's reputation kind of took a nosedive, really with the SD1, which was perhaps undeserved. But they never were able to cultivate this brand image again, even with their last effort, the Rover 75, which was a genuinely rather premium car, probably on par, if not more so, than the contemporary Jaguars. The fact of the matter is, brand image is very hard to cultivate, but even harder to get back once you lose it, and that is what I really fear that Jaguar may well be doing, and they need to be very, very careful with this. You see, they've gone from a brand which was desirable to the middle class, the aspiring middle manager who could... a Jaguar just has a brand image which BMW, Audi, Alfa, it's on par with them, really. It's quite a prestigious brand, more so than your Ford. But it also shows a certain lifestyle. And I have heard people say that perhaps this is some amazing 4D chess move, and in the next advert, potentially these androgynous people with their sledgehammers, live-action Lisa Simpson with a sledgehammer, they'll all be run over by a Jeremy Clarkson driving Jag, and then it'll pull up in front of a pub where everyone walks in and they're drinking their pints. I'm sorry, but the age of the V8 in Jags, at least, is unfortunately coming to a close, and they have pledged to be an all-electric brand. So the new car that is going to be revealed is going to be an all-electric Jaguar. What people have brought up, and something that I really do agree with them, is what exactly is the target audience of this new advertisement, because it doesn't really seem to cater to anybody. This is the kind of advertisement that I'd expect from Renault or Smart or some other low-budget brand, and I don't really understand why they've tainted Jaguar such as this, although they have got the internet talking. As everybody's favourite school zone speeder, Mark-ass Brownie, says, regarding the Jaguar advert, this is horrible. It's also the most anybody has talked about Jaguar in 50 years, and that's very true. But is any publicity good publicity? Jaguar have, in one advert, managed to take themselves from looking like a well-to-do, aspirational brand to looking like a feminine hygiene brand. Their new logo really isn't it, and I think it can be epitomised by my first reaction to the new Jaguar reveal. You see, you've got the classic leaping cat logo, the side profile, this iconic, long, stretching design which encompasses the Jaguar motto of grace, space and pace. It's graceful, it's large, and it's leaping at you. It really is a powerful image. And the new Jaguar logo, that remains. The silhouette of the Jaguar leaping remains. However, in their new promotional material, it's etched into some brass. I thought that was laser cut MDF. They have horrifically cheapened the brand, but I don't want to be a Debbie Downer for the whole of this video, because as you know, I am really not against electric cars in a way. I really think they have their place. Yes, at this moment in time they're heavy, but they can be fun to drive, and what I like about electric cars really is that they have the ability to do something different, the ability to, as Jaguar say, copy nothing, and I really hope that they fulfill this and they do bring out something unique which isn't copied. Because look, as bad as the advertising can be, how can a car be woke? A car is a car at the end of the day. And whilst the image of a vehicle does speak certain things, if the car is great, then the car is great, and this may save Jaguar. If the car is terrible, then the car is terrible. And if we look at the one promotional image of the vehicle which we've seen, it's kind of hard to analyse this because we can only really see what I believe is the rear quarter of the vehicle. I'm rather optimistic, although I must say that I really like the design of the Ioniq 5 and, I hate to say it, but the Cybertruck. Are we going to see something similar to this? To me, it looks almost Art Deco, yet futuristic in a way. There's these rear slats that admittedly do look a little bit like an AC condenser, but I like what I'm seeing so far. I must also say Jaguar pledged to copy nothing, but look at the Polestar 4, which also has no rear window. It's a stupid feature, but a feature nonetheless, and it looks like Jaguar have already copied something straight from the get-go. The fact of the matter is this: Jaguar need to smash this out of the park. They have damaged their brand's reputation and history, but can they pull it off with a good product? I think so. But in a world of electric cars where they are increasingly homogenised, because really there's only so much character that an electric motor can give you, it is essentially stop and go, Jaguar really do genuinely need to distinguish themselves, but also continue this affluent lifestyle brand. One other thing that I really cannot understand is that this is the era of the electric sub-brand. We've got so many new cars coming to the UK and to the world, really. So many new random brands from Chinese manufacturers. So it clearly must be the right time to launch new sub-brands. I mean, look, we've got a Moda that have come to the UK. Maxus, I know they've been in the UK for a while, but they're really starting to push this new brand. Skywell is another one which I've heard of. BYD, they're already huge. The electric brand and the electric sub-brand, we've got so many coming into the UK, so why couldn't JLR have launched a new brand to fit this quirky, androgynous, modern... What's the word I'm looking for? It's not woke, I hate that word. Chic and trendy. There we go. Image. Because it's such a juxtaposition as to what Jaguar previously were and have been for the past 75 years. Car rebrands rarely work. I conducted a poll on my YouTube channel a few days ago, and I asked people, what do you think of the Jaguar rebrand? And admittedly, it was a loaded question because the only two options were, I love it, or it's absolutely terrible, despicable even, which I think is potentially not the most unbiased question in the world. About 22 people or so voted on it. 100% hated it. It is a satisfaction rate of 0%. And I must admit, I really haven't seen a single person say that they genuinely like this rebrand. So there we go, just a little bit of a quick one. Me really playing devil's advocate here. I don't want to jump on the bandwagon of bashing the new Jaguar advert, because look, we can all agree it's really bad. Not so much because of the chaps that are in it, but more so because of the fact that it just seems to cheapen the brand. It seems like a low-rent fashion advert at best, feminine hygiene product advertisement at worst, which is really... It draws many parallels. Even the font for the new Jaguar looks suspiciously similar to a certain rubber prophylactic goods manufacturer. Yeah, but I really hope that Jaguar can pull this off, and I want to remain optimistic. As fun as it is to sit around and laugh at the new advert, or despair, or die if you're Mr. Prescott, I am holding out hope, and I may do another video after the new Jag launches where I can either be lauded for being rather uncritical, or I can despair and go, you know what, everybody else was right. But what do you think? I really want to spark a little bit of a discussion in the comments below, so please let me know what you think of the rebrand. You probably do hate it, and you've got good reason to, but I think we can have a little bit of a discussion. We can wait around until the new car is revealed, and I may well be back in the next few weeks discussing what I really think the future for the brand can be. But anyway, I really hope that you've enjoyed this quick little video of me standing in a field. There's some sheep there. I hope that it wasn't too windy. It is very rainy, it's very windy, it's a little bit grim, but I had nowhere else to film this. So I really hope that you did enjoy. And if you want some more rants, then please, by all means, subscribe to the channel. And I may bring out more. I typically focus on car reviews, but we're testing the waters with this one, so let's see how well it does. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next episode of Man Shouts in a Field, sponsored by Bucket Zone. Thank you.